Thank you. So I'd like to start by asking you to consider the answer. My answer is there, but what would you think is our largest and most valuable public asset? And to help us visualize that, I'd ask you to visualize or to consider just North America, and even just the part that is contiguous, the piece you see on the map here in front of you. And to further help with the visualization, I'd ask you to imagine that you're very large. You can stand, if you will, with your feet in the Atlantic Ocean, and with your right hand, you could pick up a piece of road in the northeastern part of the continent, and with your left hand, to pick up a tiny piece of road in Florida and start to lift. And you would lift a road, and I'm using the singular on purpose to make a point. But you would soon have dangling in front of you one massive asset. It's a huge network of roads, but it is, and it's very tempting to think of it as, I'm going to put it down, it's heavy. It's very tempting to think of it as being very simple, because it's all essentially, aggregate with some kind of binder to hold it together. It's been laid out flat and smooth to create these nice pathways for us to get ourselves and our goods from one place to another. But I would like to actually introduce the idea that it is incredibly complex, and start with the fact that there's no one entity that owns all of these roads. Think of North America, as the map shows here. There are thousands of agencies that are charged with the stewardship of these roads. Each one of them have their own budgets, their own goals, their own complex set of situations, including climate, changing climate, landscapes, and they all have their own distinct needs. Adding to that complexity is that these roads serve different functions and have different traffic loads. Adding to that is that they are made of different materials. There's many of them that are concrete, there's asphalt, brick, a lot of them are gravel. And to even make it more complex, they are different ages. Some of them are very new, and some can be quite old. So you can see that this is a complex problem that needs a sophisticated solution. It needs some form of pavement management. And if you've been in the industry, you know the standard definition of pavement management is the application of the right treatment to the right road at the right time. So if you consider that complexity we just explored, along with that three-pronged question of what, when, and where, you can see that some sort of sophisticated tool is needed. And that's where I would like to introduce you to AtlasAM. So AtlasAM is a tool that's being developed, and it is really the central part of Stantec's pavement management system. Now, a lot of people, when you hear the term pavement management system, you think of a piece of software, but it is really more than that. It's a process. It's an entire system that really starts with an understanding of your inventory. What is it that you need to take care of, and all the properties of those different sections. Continues with data, collection of condition data, and quality condition data, so that you can do that final step, the analysis and the understanding of what it is that you need to do. And you may say that this isn't new, and I would say, yes, you're right. The concept of managing pavements and using software to help with that problem is not new. In fact, in the 70s, there was a group of people who started to recognize that the roads built earlier in the century were starting to degrade, and the idea of fixing roads after they had fallen apart was not the best solution. So and some of those people are in this picture here that you see before you. So this picture is kind of cool. I found it in a box of stuff when we were moving back into our offices in April. And it shows an office, and this office is in Paris, Ontario. It's in a kind of a combination farmhouse barn, and it is where these innovators first started to introduce the concept of pavement management. It's actually the office where I started in this industry in 2005. You can tell by the groovy tiles and the bell-bottom pants that this is probably late 70s, early 80s. So that gentleman on the right is Frank Meyer. He was the owner of Pavement Management Services, one of the first acquisitions of Stantec back in the 90s. On the left is Dr. Ralph Haas, University of Waterloo professor, and really kind of the founding pioneer of pavement management, who wrote a book in the 70s called Pavement Management Systems. And it's these people who really started that work, and they gave birth to two tools, Road Matrix and HPMA, Highway Pavement Management Application, that are still used today. They're excellent tools that are used by our clients to help them solve all of these problems. And there's a few people in our company who have been working on the development of these tools, and it is these tools and those people and this experience that has really given birth to AtlasAM. So now I want to talk about where AtlasAM fits into that pavement management system. And the first thing is answering that question of what. Remember, there's the where, when, and what. So what treatment should we do? These are the decision trees, and these are a complex set of nodes that lead you down a path. It's if-then statements, greater than, less than, and it really sorts out what sections of roads are perfect candidates for what treatment. These are complex. They are typically set up by one of our pavement engineers, and one of the reasons they are complex is because they are flexible. They have to be flexible because our clients' needs are changing. As we move into the future, there are other criteria that could play an important role in deciding which roads get what type of treatment. Things like equity. And yesterday, our colleague Rowan introduced us to the concept of non-car-centric functional classifications for roads. So these are new things that are coming up that our clients are going to want to introduce into their pavement management system. So the next question it tackles is the when. And these are the AtlasAM deterioration models. So these are set up, again, by our pavement engineers. It requires a lot of local understanding. It requires an understanding of the pieces of, or the type of construction, the type of treatments that are on the roads, and how long it takes before they degrade to a point where they need to be, have some form of treatment. And this is an incredibly important part of the puzzle, because missing that window of when you would apply some sort of treatment to a road can have a massive cost impact. There are case studies that have shown that preventative maintenance runs about 1/4 the cost of doing some kind of regular rehabilitation to bring a road back up to the condition that it should be at. And then we go on from there to, once we have those decisions made, we are now going to go through a number of criteria to come up with that maintenance and rehabilitation plan. There are typically budget-based scenarios. I have this much money, where should I spend it, and what will my roads look like in 2, 5, or 10 years? And then there's budget-based scenarios, performance-based scenarios, where you say, what is it going to cost for me to get my road network up to this level, or to maintain it at the level that it's at? From there, you're not done. That plan typically needs to be reported, it needs to be defended, and it needs to be approved. AtlasAM has the tools built in, the data visualization tools, to help tell that story, the data-driven decisions that are being made to the decision makers, in many cases the people who hold the finances for that agency. So I just want to wrap up by saying that this ongoing development of AtlasAM, it's really an opportunity. It's an opportunity for us to help our clients move into the future with considering future asset management practices. It's an opportunity to introduce a high level of flexibility, and it's an opportunity to leverage that history, leverage the experience and all of those decades of client interaction that have been put into the development of a full pavement management system. So I would like to just say that I think it is that history and those decades of experience in developing that full pavement management system, the data, the engineering advice, and the software. All of those together, I think, is what gives the strength, and I think a pretty cool story behind AtlasAM. Thank you.